like the Reds. Friday's talking Reds. A little bit different today. Me, Gareth Roberts, Craig Hannan. We're in what I still call the Al Granada Reports building, but now I'm reliably informed it is called the Martin Luther King building. It's at Albert Dock, and this behind us is what's something called terrace tapestries. And the idea behind this is they got school kids, people from the community around Liverpool, who are from all the nations in the World Cup. They worked with Peter Carney, who's a well-known Red. He makes a lot of banners and flags that you'll see on the Kop. They all got together, made these behind us. There's a Mo Salah one there, which you might be able to see. Every nation represented. And it's boss, and it's just something like if you kick them around the Albert Dock, you can drop in and have a look. And it's part of the Art of Football exhibition, which is going on across Liverpool during the World Cup. We're going to be doing a bit on that on the City Talk show today, which is out there free as usual. But also later on in Talking Reds, we nipped up to the Camp and Furnace to have a look at a shirt exhibition. So there's a bit on that too. But all that's to come. First off, we are going to talk about the Reds. And the footy last night, World Cup, it appears that Dejan Lovren is the best centre-half in the world, and he's going to win the World Cup, Craig. He is.
Do you know what? Like, there's something really exciting about that Croatia team. Like, I'd love to be part of it. Out of any of the teams in this World Cup, I'd like to be in that one because, you know, like Spain are one of the favourites and look good. You know, the likes of Brazil, who haven't really, you know, haven't reached their gear yet. France are through, but are again one of the favourites. Croatia are like the outsiders, but like they've just got a cool kit. They've got loads of brilliant players. Like Modric is just, like, I know this is nothing new to anyone who watches football, but like even last night he's gorgeous to watch, isn't he? I'd almost forgotten. And yeah, yeah. And the goal he scored last night. But yeah, it's brilliant that Dejan Lovren's right at the centre of it as well. And he played well again last night. Played really well. I think I'd missed just the start of the game. Apparently he had a slip but let Messi through. But aside from that, really solid, some brilliant tackles, and yeah, I kind of wish I'd got Croatia in the sweep now, just because Brazil? I know, but like I don't know what it is about Brazil. I don't know what it is. I'm very much of the, like, I like supporting teams that I like, even if I don't think that, you know, even if I don't think they're actually going to win the World Cup. I like having that sort of someone to properly support and be invested in. And I think Croatia, that's what I will be with Croatia now, just having watched them. Yeah. Just a really enjoyable match to watch, and I feel bad for Messi as well, because everyone's, I think with Ronaldo, the way Ronaldo's performing in this tournament so far compared to what Messi's been doing, suddenly it's Ronaldo's the best player in the world and Messi's not, and I think that's just completely unfair because that Argentina team looks shite. So but yeah, Anna got on Croatia last night as well. They were 3-1, which felt, you know, good odds. So
big odds, yeah. I mean, with Dejan, I mean, being serious on Dejan now, I know that a lot of people will talk about his mistakes. We'll talk about that, you know, there's much better centre-halves and that Liverpool should move on and that he shouldn't be in the side and all that. You only have to turn on Twitter to see that pretty much every day. A few lads in particular who support Liverpool utterly obsessed with telling you that Dejan Lovren's no good. But the facts are that he keeps playing well in big games now, and the facts are as well that, you know, again, like when we talked about Karius the other day, it's down to the manager. It's not down to us. We can moan about it all we want and we can say he should upgrade and all this sort of stuff, but it appears that Jurgen Klopp likes Dejan Lovren, is happy with his performances. He played well in the Champions League final as well. I know we lost, but you know, it's another one where big stage he's performed well. So I think you might just have to get over it, lads, because there's every chance that come August, Dejan Lovren is starting for Liverpool again.
Do you know what as well? I think, like, we often talk about teams gaining momentum at the end of a season, and then that's like a bounce going into the new season. And I think if rather than looking at the team, look at the player this time, in Dejan Lovren. He scores in the last day of the season, really good header. You know, he was good in the Champions League final, wasn't he, against Ronaldo. He's looked good in the World Cup and did well against Messi last night. So, you know, if Croatia go far in this tournament and he continues to play the way he is, like, he'll be excited. You know, he will be bouncing into the pre-season. And, you know, I've we've had our ups and downs with him. I think that's the problem, is that we feel as if we're almost always waiting for that next, mad moment from him. And I remember like looking back at the Spurs game when he has that like awful was it 30-40 minutes and then he's hooked.
Yeah.
And like there were people me included saying like, how do you come back from that? But Klopp just had this this confidence in him, played him the next game, I think, and from there I'd say he's maybe had a 7 or 8 out of 10 season last season, considering what he went through at the beginning of it. So it's probably exciting times if you're Dejan Lovren, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that I think he does sort of get in little ruts mentally and things like that, and I think he's been quite open about that, and that's probably why you saw him get hooked 29 minutes at Spurs away. But when he's in a good place, he's a good player. The other thing to say on it as well is I think that there's not a huge amount of great centre-halves out there right now. There's a bit of a dearth of them. And, I was flicking through the Echo's blog this morning about, the latest news and the latest links and that sort of stuff. And apparently Liverpool have been linked to Harry Maguire at Leicester. Not for me, Al. This is a fella, look, maybe I'm being unfair, but it looks like he likes the odd chippy meal there, do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't look the most mobile fella I've ever seen. And look, he's all right. He's half decent. He's good in the air. He likes to bring it out. He had a bit of a go against Tunisia, didn't he? Bringing it out a few times for England, but just nah. I mean, is he really that much better than what we've got? Is he better than Dejan Lovren? He's certainly not up there with Van Dijk. And then it's like, even when we played the transfer game on the Anfield app, which is worth a listen if you haven't had a go with that. Like if you just subscribe, for instance, go back and have a listen to that. The idea with that was we played a bit of a game about who you'd sign and you had a budget and all this, and everyone had an argument with each other. But when we were having those arguments, you're looking at the list of what Neil had determined were available centre-halves in the world, and you were a bit like,
I think that says all about why we waited for Van Dijk. And I've seen or heard or read Klopp talk about Dejan Lovren when he first came in, and he looked at Dejan Lovren and he looked at like how physically he was and how he was built and his pace, and he said, if I was going to build a defender, that's how I would build him. And I think he said at the time as well that Dejan Lovren was a much better centre half than Liverpool fans were led to believe, and from his early performances in his career. So it's just how he pushes on next season. From here. I'd love nothing more than A, for him to stay injury free, and B, just to play alongside Van Dijk and that be the two, and Liverpool progress from there. But will we bring in another centre half? I just don't think we will.
Maybe the lad at Newcastle, the Sells, I quite like him. I've been linked with him, and I can see that one. That makes sense to me.
He's a captain, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a captain, and he likes his captains. He likes his leaders. Klopp. He likes someone who's got a bit of something about him, a bit of spirit. So that'd make sense to me if we maybe went for him, and he's just competing for a place rather than you buying someone who you're saying he's a definitive starter. The other lads are still going to be there. I mean, the only other thing for me at centre half is Matip and Lovren have both had their injury worries, probably too many of them. So that might be in the manager's mind when they start doing business again, whenever that is, Reds, if you fancy it. Like, okay, but another thing I wanted to talk about today, we do like to sort of point out good bits of journalism, really, good things that are worth reading. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, I'm basically at the moment just ripping loads of journalists who are writing shit. The lads, the lads at the MEM have been putting some absolutely awful stuff out. There was an awful piece in The Independent yesterday about female pundits at the World Cup, written by some absolute dinosaur. You've obviously had some absolute shit in the Daily Mail about, Harry Kane and stuff like that. So we've got stuck into all that. But so, the other side of the coin is then when there's some good stuff, let's shout about it, let's share it, and let's say this is the type of stuff that we want to read, you know what I mean? So a site that I wasn't previously aware of really until this week, Players Tribune, is that how you say it? Is that right?
I think
that's right. Two really good pieces this week. The latest one is with Raheem Sterling. The one the other day was with Lukaku. And basically the sort of first person pieces written from the player, just about their lives and what it's like being them. And the Sterling one is really, really good, and it kicks off with him basically saying his little daughter isn't interested in the fact that dad's won the league. Doesn't give a Scooby, I think is the words that he uses, and the reason why, she's a Red. She's a red. She supports Liverpool and she's running around the house singing Mo Salah songs. How brilliant is that?
Amazing.
And then, you know, you get into the piece itself and it comes across how much he loves his mum, how much his mum and the spirit of his mum and the strength of his mum has got him to where he is now, and why he wants to pay it back, if you like. And, you know, he can't understand why, if he buys his ma a nice house now that he's done well and he's reached the top of football, that everyone's writing about it and slagging him off. And I mean, he doesn't get into detail, but some of the stuff that's been written about him is absolutely incredible. I mean, you know, 200 grand a week footballer goes to Greg's. So what? Raheem Sterling goes to Poundland. So what? Raheem Sterling flies on EasyJet. So
he can't win. I think there was
Raheem
a story
Sterling
about him.
gets a tattoo. So what?
Yeah, there was not a story about him buying his ma taps, like bathroom taps. Yeah, yeah. And when you read that, like, it sort of brings out the human side in him, and like, you know, we've booed him at Anfield, but that's for no other reason other than he left Liverpool and the way he left Liverpool.
And
that I know, and that's affected his performances. But whenever you read some of the journalism around him, some of the stories around him, if you read in particular to certain newspapers in the UK, then you'll build this picture of what he's like, and, you know, this, like, you know, bling footballer that, like, you know, buys all these cars, and, like, you know, fucking hell, he made that money himself. B, moved over from Jamaica when he was like 7 years old with his mum into, the story talks about his mum basically cleaning toilets for a living and him helping her, them moving around because they couldn't afford rent, and just basically his mum sacrificing everything for him and for him and his sister have a better life. So when you read all that and you put it into context of what he's doing now, he's playing for England at the World Cup. You know, he's scoring all the goals that he did for Man City, and one of the best young players in the Premier League and in the world. Like, you know, give him a fucking break.
I know. I mean, like, there's stuff in there as well about when he was at Liverpool. He went to Raynell High School, and I knew about that anyway. But, you know, he was living with, like, you know, an old couple that sort of approved by the club, if you like, to look after one of their players. And then his mum's just basically ringing him every day. And, you know, just when you're reading that, you're just thinking, that must have been hard, that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Leave all your friends and family behind, just come to Liverpool. Yes, you're playing footy and that's brilliant and everything else, but you've still got to work hard. You've still got to have the right attitude. You've still got to be a hard-working human being to get to where he's got to. And then, yeah, the tabloid treatment of him, absolutely crap. But this piece is well worth your time. So look it up, Players Tribune, and the one on Lukaku's similar as well, really. Again, it's about, you know, what he's come through to get to where he is, some of the treatment he's had and everything else. So two really good pieces on that site for you to have a look at there. We're going to go away for a little bit now, and you'll see when we went down to Camp and Furnace and had a look at the shirt. We'll be back after that for some more hot football chat.
I'm Craig Pennington from Bidolito, and I'm the curator of the Art of Football season, and we're here at our pop-up gallery space in Camp and Furnace at the Art of the Football shirt exhibition.
Just tell us about some of the shirts that are on show here today, and how this collection's cropped up, how it's come about.
So the collection of shirts on show today has been put together by a curator called Neil Hurd, who's been collecting shirts for many years. He's got an amazing set of, you know, really, really significant, but culturally, socially, like an amazing set, really, that span various eras, decades, national shirts, club shirts, and the way that he's put the show together is kind of looking at shirts which might have a political focus or a music focus or a reference to pop culture, and I just think as an exhibition, it's really, really powerful. It takes you back to various places in your youth and your childhood, and also back to, you know, those key kind of moments and pillars through kind of football's history. And obviously, with it being a World Cup, it's the perfect time to have a show like this on.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that me as a football fan, I look at it and I just think straight away. I see certain shirts and you remember certain players, certain clubs, certain times, certain moments in history, and that's why, you know, old football shirts are special, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, old football shirts, and I suppose that it's much like records. You know, they kind of like remind you of a particular moment, what was going on in your life, who your girlfriend was, you know, what you were, where you were working, what you were doing with your mates, what clubs you were going to. You've got all those kind of reference points through your life, and I think shirts are, you know, really, really powerful. And I think the role that the football shirts had in terms of like how it's how it's charted, like the commercialization of football, you know, the way that the humble kind of football shirt became the first place where sponsorship logos were carried, and how that's kind of changed as like football's become more and more commercialized over the past 10, 15, 20 years, is really, really interesting. So it's like a document of that changing process. I think that the shirts are a really, really interesting artifact, really.
And it's a free exhibition, is it? Anyone can come down? What sort of opening times and things like that?
Yeah, the exhibition's free to everyone. All of the World Cup games are being screened in this pop-up space as well. The Art of the Football shirt exhibition is on for another week, so it's on until the end of the group stages of the World Cup. And following that, we're going to have another exhibition in this space called I Don't Love Soccer Because Soccer Doesn't Love Me, which is an amazing illustration exhibition which we've done with John Moores University. So yeah, free to enter, come down, pick out your favourites, kind of get lost in a bit of a nostalgia trip, I suppose, as well.
Brilliant. Is there a place people can go to online to find out more information as well?
Yeah, if you go to artoffootball.co.uk, that's a website which has got all of the different projects which are happening within the Art of Football season, both our exhibitions but also our music events, big 2-day symposium that we're doing at Liverpool Central Library as well. So loads going on all throughout the World Cup.
Now we're in a room with a load of football shirts, so you must have walked up and down and had a look a few times. What's your favourite one?
I'm going to pick two.
Go on, that's fine. You can have two.
My favourite from a design perspective is probably the Ajax TDK shirt. I just think that like it's just so unique, odd, interesting, beautiful piece of graphic design. Almost quite kind of like factory hacienda kind of like esque in its design. Beautifuful piece. And Tranmere 1991, Chris Malkin-esque Wembley playoff final kit. Yeah, and what more can you say?
You're a Tranmere fan, aren't you? So just quickly, let's get a little bit of Tranmere from you. What's your hopes for next season for Rovers?
I think we'll be competitive next season. I'm just coming down, to be honest, after Wembley. The heart rate's just returned, however many weeks ago it was. I think we'll be competitive. I think we'll easily finish in the top 10, and you know, if we get in the playoffs, then great. I think that, you know, I don't think there's that much of a gap between the top 8-9 sides in the conference and League Two. I think the conference has become kind of a fifth division, really. That's what we've had to endure over the last 3 years. But I think we'll be really competitive. We've kept the nucleus of the team together. Obviously, Andy Cook leaving is disappointing, but apart from that, I can see we're going to have some good acquisitions, and yeah, I'm hopeful. To be honest, the fixtures have just come out. We're playing Oldham, Bury, you know, Carlisle, proper teams again. I never thought the idea of going away to Bury on a Tuesday night would be so romantic.
Excellent stuff. Cheers, mate.
Sound, thanks very much.
Thanks very much to Craig there for showing us round and showing us all those shirts. What was your favourite one there?
Well, I'm excited to see what this hot football chat you've just promised is, to be honest, from us too on a Friday.
It might just be me asking you what your favourite shirt is. Is
that it? Brilliant. There was some belters. There was some ones A, I hadn't seen before, and B, that were just absolutely mad. There was one, this isn't my favourite by the way, but it was my favourite story. There was a Fiorentina one that got pulled after 11 games, and I was looking at it thinking, why did this get pulled within 11 games? It's because they'd accidentally, there was like the pattern on it was a Nazi symbol, which was absolutely grim. How that got past the manufacturers, the people that OK it, the club, into the shop and onto the pitch is just absolutely wild. My favourite one was, well, there was two. The South Americans do their kits well, I think. There was one, there was a Palermo's one that was like the Adidas Originals, green. They've got a cool badge, Palermo's. That's basically the kind of thing I'm in it for. But that, and there was a Sao Paulo one as well.
Boca Juniors one I liked.
Oh yeah, it was a better, wasn't it?
It was lovely. There's a few Liverpool ones in there as well. There's even a kit in there from when Everton were good. Honestly, I've seen it. 1984.
Tell you what, it's not difficult for him to get Everton into this, is it?
I mean, there's one in there of when Tranmere went to Wembley in the playoffs as well. You know, Chris Malkin days and all that sort of stuff. Honestly, it's worth a look. Basically, if you love your footy and you love your kits and you're down that end of town, it's worth a look. Same with this gaff as well. And have a look at the website that was mentioned there, Art of Football, because there's stuff going on through the city all through the summer. And you know, the Camp and Fairness thing as well. I think what's good about that is you can go to the exhibition, you can have a look, but then you can have a pint and you can watch the match as well.
There's nice little stories as well.
Yeah.
That's what I liked. There wasn't just loads of shirts hanging up. It was like the Fiorentina one, because I wouldn't have A, noticed it, and B, even known what it was all about, but it tells you the story of it, and same with the Boca Juniors and why they're famous in Argentina and so on.
Okay, on the Anfield app today then, there is a City Talk show as ever on a Friday that is free, that is on the radio first and then released as a free podcast later on. We'll be recording AFQ today as well. Mel Reddy's coming on AFQ today, that's exciting, isn't it? I don't think she's done one before.
Craig Hannan and Gareth Roberts are on it as well, do you know what I mean?
We're on it as well, Dream Team's on there. So, you know, what a reason, what more reasons you need to subscribe to the Anfield app. What else is out today? I think there's a gutter out there today as well where we'll be getting into all the latest transfer gossip. There is plenty of it, as there always is at this time of year. So lots and lots of reasons to subscribe to the Anfield app. Have a listen, share it, and keep watching. Also as well, I've noticed, you know, Radio 5 have been doing World Cup podcasts, right? And they're all right, like, you know, they're not bad. Well, except the ones with Robbie Savage on. But what they do every day when they're talking about their podcast on their content, they say, can you review them? Can you give them like a star rating on iTunes? Can you go on the Facebook page and give us a review and a star rating on there? And I thought, we haven't been asking for that for a while, have we? So if you like what we're doing, presuming you do if you've got this far in the video, go to iTunes, look up the Anfield app and just write us a little review, a nice one, give us 5 stars out of 5.
Brilliant hot footy chat is what I would put in it.
Yeah. Gareth Roberts and Craig Hannan is what I love about the Anfield app. Yeah, you can have that if you want. Also on our Facebook page, the Anfield app, you can review us on there as well. Like, it just helps us to spread the word, get more people on board, and it means that we can keep doing hot football chat day after day, like this has been.
I've just got a couple more things. The US tour, we've got two of our live shows out. The tickets right now, they're on ctickets.com. You'll find them on our social medias, on Twitter and on Facebook and so on. There's New York, which is the night before the game in New Jersey, and there is Detroit. Charlotte will be announced next week, so have a look out for that. And our Mo Salah World Cup t-shirt. It's cool, isn't it? Really cool. It's limited edition. We won't be ordering any more in. So once they're gone, and they've been flying out. So yeah, get on them.
Yeah, so that's been Talking Reds. Have a great weekend. See you next week.